Thank you for having me come and enlighten you about our program. Our program is about 6 years old. It's a national program. It's been here in Chicago since 2012, and we have now 400 alumni of the program. So if I'll just kind of go like that, magically it'll change. Mayor Emanuel brought the program in. This is a program that, as I said, was national. They had wanted to come to Chicago, but the mayor was instrumental once he was on board to bring this program in, and he is a huge supporter of the program. They dedicated $25 million for Chicago, and that includes the amount of access to capital that is part of this program. And then you see there's 13 locations across the U.S. where all those arrows are. And there's also a blended program for business owners who are not in those areas, but within areas of the United States. It's half of the internet program and half at Babson College. Okay, so the program itself, we're not looking for startups, we're not looking for early stage companies, we're looking for businesses that have achieved a sustained revenue, that are 2 years or older, that have 4 full-time employees or more, that have revenues between 150,000 and say 4 to 8, even 10 million. And the majority owner of the business. I know in the restaurant business there's a lot of generational businesses, and we deal with generational businesses. It doesn't have to be the majority owner as long as the elder generation just gives us a letter that says the younger generation is going to be taking over the business. The thing about the program is, and I'll show a slide in a second which will illustrate this, but there is huge peer-to-peer learning in this program. A quality cohort for us is having one that is as diverse as possible, that has as many different types of industries and businesses and types of people in the program. So it is a lot of peer-to-peer education, which means that the person who goes into the program has to give of themselves as far as their experiences, and likewise the other people will give you their experiences. So just a quick overview of the program. Here are the key players. Goldman Sachs it's really the Goldman Sachs Foundation. They first had a program in the mid-2000s called 10,000 Women, where they went internationally, largely to third world countries, and they helped women with business education. Those women who built businesses obviously benefited, but the idea of the program was not just those women would benefit, but the community would. And that's exactly what happened. They reached the 10,000 women, and now they are doing it again. They just started again in January. So they then said, well, what else can we do? This has worked out really well. What can we do in the U.S.? So they came up with 10,000 small businesses geared specifically for economic growth of the individual cities, as well as small businesses for revenue growth and job creation. Babson College, if you Google them, you'll find they're the #1 entrepreneurial college in the United States. Goldman went to Babson, and they said, give us a customized curriculum. Of the $500 million that is in the grant, the first thing they did was spend a lot of millions on this curriculum. The curriculum is customized. It is, in Chicago anyway, the most defined business curriculum that you can find anywhere. ICIC is a business that helps us administrate the program across all of the states. So that's where we get our best practices, and they help us and all the other sites give as quality a cohort as possible. And then what Goldman also wanted to do, and they specified, they said we want to have this educated and administered in community colleges. And why would they do that? Especially with the great colleges that we have here. It's because community colleges 50% of their enrollment are adults. And obviously for this program, it's adults. So that has proven to be very good. So there's three major pieces to it. The practical business and management education. I talked about the curriculum, and I talked about the peer-to-peer learning. The network of support. In our average cohort, there's about 35, we call them scholars, but business owners. And in the cohort, those 35 business owners tend to become the business owners' best friends. They not only stay in their cohort groups beyond the graduation, but they develop this very deep respect and this very great relationship with them. And that continues on. Once they graduate, we now have over 400 alumni just in Chicagoland who have full access to everyone else. 84% of the people who are in their cohort end up doing business with other people in their cohort. So the networking is fabulous. And now nationally there's over 6,100 alumni, which the person going through the program has full access to. So the network of support is huge. Capital to expand. $5 million was given by Goldman to a company here, which is an SBA lender, Summercore, who deals with a lot of the banks. And that if you go through this program and you have good credit, you're likely to be able to get one of these SBA loans using the Goldman funds. Outside of that, we also teach all the scholars how to go get the funding, how to position their business, how to write their business plan. What are the funders looking for from a debt financing standpoint? The bottom line to the whole thing is revenue growth and job creation. And so, next slide. This gives you a sense of the curriculum. It's 100+ hours, 15 weeks. It's every other Friday from 8:30 in the morning till 5:30. There's 3 Saturdays, which are from 8:30 to 5:30, and then we have some modules and clinics, which are usually Tuesday from 6 to 9. I won't go through this, but it really is based on a mindset, a culture. From the skill set side, there's everything you would think would be in there, the financing, the marketing, the operations, and then the funding side, how to be bankable. Because what you're doing with this curriculum, it is tied to a growth plan. That growth plan template follows the building block curriculum. And with that growth plan, when you are done with the program, you have your own growth plan for your own business with your own numbers and your own forecast that you can then take out and execute immediately. Next. So let's talk about some results. And these, what we do is we track the businesses that go through the program and graduate. We track them for 30 months after they graduate. So these are true numbers. 72% within 6 months of the business owners who have gone through this program have increased their revenue. And that's versus 45% of just general business owners. 50% within 6 months have added at least one employee, and some 2, 3, 4. And in the restaurant industry, you have a lot of labor involved versus 22% of just any business. 99% graduate, and they graduate because we make sure that once you're vetted into our program, we don't want to see you go. We do anything we can from a help from, we have business advisors which give one-on-one mentoring as you go through the program. So the business owner is never alone in this program, and they're developing this growth plan, not just with the business advisors, but with myself and the other staff in our group. We don't want people, we vet so meticulously that once they're vetted, we don't want them to leave. Next slide. So what are we doing here? What am I doing here? I'm here basically because of Sam and Eric and the people at the association have adopted this program because they think this will really help restaurants. And there's no cost for this program. This is a completely free program. What there is a commitment. And understanding the restaurant industry and understanding the hours that go into being in the restaurant industry, it's not for everybody, but it is for those restaurant owners who have enough of an infrastructure that they can come out and do this curriculum. We've had restaurants, usually within every cohort, I'm going to say we have 3 or 4 restaurants anyway, so we understand restaurants. But given that this is Chicago, and given what a restaurant city Chicago is, there are so many restaurants that can be useful. This program can be useful for them. I was very anxious to bring it to the association. So there's no cost. For every 10 qualified referrals we get from you, you guys get some money. They don't have to be accepted into the program. All they have to do is be referred to us. We do have a documentation that we require that once they apply that they give us. As long as they give that documentation and are asked to interview, whether they make it or not, you guys get the money. We have a deadline coming up. June 10th is for our cohort in the fall. And I want to make you aware of that. It goes from September through December 2016. And we are taking applications now, and I know with Eric, you've set up your own system within the association that maybe you can talk to them about as well. Questions? Did I do it in 5 to 7 minutes?
You did. So how does someone qualify? How does someone become accepted?
They qualify when they're 2 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
4 full-time equivalent or more.
That.
The 150,000, say 8 or 10 million, and the ownership. If you meet those 4 basic criterion,
Mm-hmm.
then what happens is we ask you to send in documents. Those documents are last 2 years of balance sheet, income statement, last federal tax return, and then minor things like proof of incorporation, things like that. Once we get that information, we schedule an interview, a 25-minute interview. And that 25-minute interview is where we see how this business owner, what passion they have for the business, what ideas do they have for the business, how we can, with our curriculum and our networking, how we can help them get to where they want to be. And if there's anything, for example, on the financials that doesn't make sense to us, we're going to ask it then. But these aren't like trick interview questions. These are more, you have a panel, there's a Goldman person and some City College people. This is really, we want to see the passion behind the business. And if you do well in the interview, then you're accepted. If for some reason you don't do well, but we still feel that you have great passion, maybe it's you need to fix something about your financials or whatever, we send people to alternative places to get organizations, not places, organizations to get that kind of education. And then what they do for us is they monitor how they've done and report back to us, because ultimately we have like a minor league, if you will, and we want to get these business owners back into our program. So we've set that up to where our pipeline is working in tandem with our recruiting efforts. Yeah.
Randy, do you have any testimonials specific to restaurant operators?
I can certainly get them. That is easy, and I can get them from across the country, or I can get them from Chicago. So I will do that. Any other questions? Okay.